Hey guys, Jazz here, back with another video, and today it's tutorial time. So, for tutorial time, I guess this is a new series maybe, the first episode is going to be about punching, and punching in animation, and how to animate different kinds of punches. So there's three main kinds of punches that we're going to get into, but first I'm going to run through some basics. So basic information is that you're going to need two figures. Figures is always the most important part of any animation. You're going to need a light source, a stand, obviously a set, but the most important part is your figures. So you're going to need two of them for what we're going to be doing today, which is a victim and an attacker. So for the attacker, the main joints you're going to use for the kind of punches I'm teaching you, you're going to need to use the elbow, you're going to need to use the shoulder, and you're going to need to use the waist swivel. Alright, so those are the three joints that you're going to absolutely have to use for the attacker, for when they're punching. For the victim, the person getting punched, you need the neck, you need the ab crunch, and then you need the waist swivel. I'll jump into it. We're going to go through the three main kinds of punches that we're going to go over. There's different kinds like uppercuts and all these different kinds of punches, but we're going to go through the three main ones. The three main basic punches are a straight out punch, a slight hook punch, so it still comes out straight, but it does come across to hit on the side. The straight out punch is mainly geared towards like chin, nose, head. This is going to be towards the side of the face. Alright, so that's the slight hook, and then there's the wide hook, which is where you come all the way around to really clock them on the side. Alright, all the way around. That's the wide hook punch. So we'll go through the three different kinds and the three different ways that you can do it wrong, and then the way that you do it correct. Alright, so starting with the straight punch, I'll show the wrong version first. So that's the wrong version. You see, there was no wind up, you just kind of punch straight out, which you need a little bit of a turn so you get the momentum for when you go straight out. A little bit of that turn. The person who gets punched can't just fall straight backwards. Alright, we'll go over falling later, but that's important. The person that got punched doesn't just fall straight backwards. And that's mainly because a jab like this, a straight-on punch, isn't going to knock someone over. It might, like, stagger them back a little bit, but they're not going to fall over just like that. Alright, that's mainly for the wide hook punch, so we'll get into that later. And then also, when you go to do any sort of punch, any kind of these punches, it always comes back. You're not going to go like this and leave it out. You go out and then come back. Those are the wrong ways to do the straight out punch. The correct way to do it, turn a little bit, come out, punch out. So you always got to use that elbow because a lot of the power comes from the elbow and the shoulder. Alright, so you come straight out and then you come back into that fighting stance that you've got. And the victim is going to go back by their ab crunch, is going to move back, and their head is going to move back on the neck, and then it's going to come back. Because whenever someone gets punched, it's like a spring. It goes forward, and then as it relaxes, you come back. So the punch makes you go, and then you come back. So we're going to talk more about that in our next one, which is the straight hook punch. So that for the straight hook punch, the common mistakes are that the waist doesn't turn and the legs move. Alright, so you'll see that the hand comes out, hooks, but in order to get hook across, the leg moves like that, which is not the case. If I were to hook across like that, do you see my legs move at all? No, they stay in the same spot. It's my waist that is going to turn. And then the hook can't just stop at their face. You can't just go like that and expect something to happen. You've got to go all the way across, alright? Or at least go past their chin, because whenever you're trying to hit something, you always want to envision going past it. So that is something that is going to help for all the combat. I'm just trying to teach you how to do it more realistic. This isn't really, I'm making it all as smooth as I can, because this isn't how to animate smooth punches. This is how to animate realistic punches. So you always want to focus on going straight through your target. So straight through. And just like I said before, when you get punched, alright, you don't go like this and then stay there, right? Your head snaps when you actually get punched, but then it's going to snap back. Alright, that's your kind of rebound from that. Because one, even if you get punched, you still want to be looking at your attacker. And two, that's just what the neck does. If you actually get punched in the face really hard, your neck is going to snap back. You're not just going to stay here. Alright? It's going to turn back just like before. So that's one wrong way to do it, is to have your head turn and then stay there. Fix that all. Turn the waist as much as you can. Make sure the fist goes past, and make sure that head comes back into position. Moving on to the third kind of punch is the wide hook punch. So, for the wide hook punch, it needs a wind-up. They all need wind-up. They all need to come back a little bit, but this one especially, because this one has the most momentum. You really need to come back before you go and throw out that wide hook. So you come back with the elbow bent. A lot of people I see when they do wide hook punches, they bring their arm straight out and then just go across and then bring it down. All right, that's not. Now I'm talking about this for animation, of course, not in like actual film, because the stuntmen always know this kind of thing. They know what they're doing. So you don't want to go make your figure go straight out, come across, and then come straight down. It comes back with the hand bent, comes out across your person's head, and then the elbow bends as you come back in. Alright, so across and then back. You're not just going to come out, over, and then down. To move on to falling, alright, I spoke before about how you can't just have your person go straight back. Alright, and that is because the human body, in reference to the weight of the punch, the human body is actually going to be thrown by the punch. It's not just going to be tipped backwards. Alright, especially if it's a beefy guy like Luke Cage fighting Union Jack. The Union Jack is really going to get punched by that. And he's really going to get thrown and not just tipped over. So, we start with the head, right? The head goes back because whenever there's a point of impact, right where that is impacted first, it's what is going to be affected first. So if you punch to the side, your neck is going to turn first, and then your body's going to follow. If you get punched in the chin, your head's going to go up, and then the rest of your body's going to follow. So Union Jack, his chin goes up, the head goes back, and then since he gets thrown, the legs come up as he falls. And then when he falls, his legs come up even further, and then they settle down because they've got momentum as they're going up. You can't just tip back, you've got to be thrown. So that's how we do a throw. That pretty much brings us to the end. I'm going to talk about one biggest issue that I see with punches, which is always people try to make it too smooth. And when I say too smooth, I mean you take pictures like this. One picture, one picture, one picture, one picture, one picture, one picture. And that is not, you can't do that. Alright? When you go to punch, it goes straight out. And that means there's going to be less pictures in between, because your punch goes really fast, so there's not gonna it's not gonna pick up as much pictures as it would if you would go slower. So when you go really slow and really smooth, then that it doesn't have the impact. It's not as exciting as it should be. Too smooth is not good. So you want to take less pictures in between. You want to take one picture here, one picture here, one picture here, one picture here. Going through slowly, it might look choppy, but once you kick it into gear, it goes really fast. Speaking of, for this video, I've been running at 30 frames per second, which I know isn't something most people do, but since that's the ideal like you want to get up to 30 frames per second, I taught for 30 frames per second. But you can always adjust my teaching down lower just by taking less pictures. Alright, so that brings me to the end of this tutorial. If you want to see more, leave a comment down below of what you want to see me teach. If you thought this was helpful, go ahead and try and make your own. Try and replicate the 3 kinds of punches we went over, and post them on Instagram, tag me, and I will give you a shout out, and so people can see how my tutorial helped you, if it did. Alright, to close off this video, here is the time lapse of me filming, and then the final result of all 3 punches. Subscribe, like, comment, so you get that notification when I post my director's commentary for Darth Maul later this week. See you guys next time.